morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you wherever and whenever you are joining us. Welcome to our latest edition of What Caught My Eye, or WCME Sports. As always, I am your host, the coach Nick Vesci. I'm joined by the boy Stephen Vesci.
What up?
And this week, the man Stephen Conlow is out on a birthday surprise, apparently, from his fiancee, Tessa. And so joining us on short notice is our resident golf expert, Mr. Nathan Bursack.
Thanks for having me back, fellas.
Golf clap. Thank you. Good for you to join us. Thanks again for coming short notice. Real quick, pinch hitter, but we do appreciate you being here. Before we get started, a couple reminders for you. If you're new to our show, we like to think of ourselves as the sports show for sports fans about sports. We're focused on what happens between the lines of play and competition, and less so much about whatever drama person asking for a trade. Right? That's not what we're concerned with. Like I've said this before, think about the 90s Sports Center, the highlights, but in radio form because we've been told we have faces fit for radio. Before we get into our top catch of the week.
What my wife tells me. God, jeez.
Well, that's what she tells me.
Bitch.
I'm glad my wife doesn't talk to any of you all then.
Yes, before we all, thank you, dig our own graves here.
Sorry, I was late. I was late on that one.
Freudian slips. Just a reminder to follow us on all of our socials at WCME_sports. It's on X, on Instagram, and on Facebook. Our episodes, they drop every Wednesday at noon on Spotify, on YouTube, and new for Season 2, we are on iHeartRadio. So you can listen to us anywhere you go if you have any of those apps. Pretty easy. You can find all that info also on our website, WCMEsports.com. Without further ado, let's get into our top catch this week. Our top catch, we went back to the realm of football and the NFL Conference Championship games. And as we learned last week, if we're talking about the NFL, we have a new sponsor to announce, right? So, teachers, are you ready to transition out of the classroom into a career where you feel valued and fulfilled? At Lane Switch Consulting, they specialize in helping educators navigate their journey into new roles beyond teaching. Follow them on LinkedIn at Lane Switch Consulting and on Instagram at LaneSwitch_consulting for tips, success stories, and resources to support your next steps. Again, that is Lane Switch Consulting, our official partner and sponsor of our NFL segment, new for Season 2 here.
Well, there's two teachers on the on the podcast.
Are there? Who? I don't see any, if I'm being honest. But just if you are a teacher listening, just keep a lookout. Again, that's Lane Switch Consulting. Tell them Nick Vesci sent you.
Those who can't do, teach. And those who can't teach Jim.
Yo-Yo Ma's cousin. Little nepotiz. In our conference championship games in the AFC, we had the Buffalo Bills. No one circles the wagons quite like them. Against the two-time defending champion Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium. And over on the NFC side, we had the Washington Commanders traveling for an intra-divisional matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles at the Link. We're going to start in Buffalo because that game was the better of the games. It lived up to the hype for what we've come to expect from a Bills-Chiefs game the last 4 or 5 years with Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes running the show out there. So the Chiefs, if you missed it, they were able to outlast the Bills 32-29 to advance to their 7th Super Bowl in franchise history and keep the three-peat quest alive. No other team in NFL history has ever pulled a three-peat. Many have done 2 in a row, never 3 in a row, right?
In the Super Bowl era, right?
Yes, yeah. No one's ever three-peated for Super Bowls, correct. I believe I saw something too, like Mahomes, every year he's been the full-time starter. They've made the AFC Championship game, at least.
It's like, 7 straight?
7 straight. It's amazing, right?
That's
so
ridiculous.
A couple other crazy things. Kansas City has won 17 consecutive one-score games, regular or postseason, meaning they know how to win games when it matters most. Believe it or not, it's a skill. It's not really quantifiable except for the win and loss column, but there's physical, mental skill involved in being able to win those close games. Their last playoff loss was January 30th, 2022 against the Bengals, when the Bengals went to the Super Bowl and lost that year to the Rams, who had Frat Stafford at QB. Over the last 3 years, including regular season and post, the Chiefs are 49-11. It's pretty good.
It's ridiculous.
Considering how many teams this year lost 11 or more games in just one season. Over 3 years, playing the equivalent of that's 60 games? Playing 60 games? That's a whole heck of a lot more games than everyone else is playing. Mahomes won his 17th playoff game, which broke a tie between him and Joe Montana for second most all time. He's still behind Tom, who's got like
29 or something, 28.
Yeah,
how old is he?
He's probably like 30, right? Because he's been in the league 7-8 years. So if he's 22 when he came in the league,
he's 29.
29, 30. Another, I guess, on a sad or crazy note, Josh Allen has 7 career playoff victories, and that is now the most all-time without a Super Bowl appearance. It's kind of getting to the Dan Marino.
Phillip Rivers. Well, I guess Phillip Rivers didn't. He wasn't really winning playoff games, was he?
No, they would lose. Like, at least, Allen's winning games, you just can't. Maybe not him, because he's not doing anything wrong out there. Right? The games that they've lost against Kansas City have had zero to do with him. He's done everything he possibly can and more. It's just
you have the Chiefs and Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes on the other side. That's the issue. You're in the same division or same conference as them, not division, same conference as them. That's the biggest issue. I mean, it's like when Brady and Belichick had those runs. Like, I think people don't realize that only one team can win the Super Bowl. I feel like people on like social media think multiple teams can win Super Bowls. They're like, how does he not get there? How is their coach not good enough? How is this quarterback not good enough? Like, there's only one team that can win it. And right now, Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid are the people running the show.
Yes. Yeah, it's a buzzsaw. It's Belichickian and Bradian? Berdian,
yeah.
Right. Yes.
San Diegoites.
San Diegans.
San Diegans.
And I think the biggest part of that is being able to win the close games, and that it doesn't matter who's on your team. Because those Tom teams that span 20 years, and it's not like you get the same people, the same linemen, the same defense. They rotated through so many great players too. Like, it's just not discounted. Belichick did such a great job of constructing that roster, and whoever was their general manager, I know Belichick had a big hand in it, but constructing the roster to give themselves a chance to win because it filled holes and they could exploit weaknesses of other teams.
Yeah,
and you kind of have that feel with the Chiefs of that. There's a couple core guys. Right?
I think there's two guys that are irreplaceable on that team. And the rest of it's like coaching staff that's irreplaceable. And it's Pat Mahomes and Chris Jones. I think those are the two guys that are irreplaceable.
Yeah.
Everyone else, you can find someone. They'll figure it out. But as long as they have Pat Mahomes, I mean, really it's one. And then Chris Jones has been unbelievable for his career.
Yes. It's incredible. As a D lineman who's in commercials that you hear his name talked about, you almost feel like he's still underrated and underappreciated because he should be the first D lineman now that you mentioned with the retirements of J.J. Watt and Aaron Donald.
Yes.
He should probably be that, right? Maybe you got the Bosa brothers,
think about him.
Watt, but he's more of a linebacker. It really should be Chris Jones is the first guy you think of, especially with his championship pedigree. But from whatever reason, he's still kind of like, oh, ho-hum, yeah, there's another all-pro for him.
I mean, he's been on the Chiefs. He's basically Mahomes' age. He's 30. He's been on the Chiefs his whole career, right? They're literally the two guys that have just.
Kelsey has been.
Kelsey, I understand Kelsey, but it's not.
You just don't like
Kelsey,
him. That's why you didn't want to.
No, I just think he's at this age he's replaceable, right?
He's replaceable in the regular season. It's kind of like a Jason Witten thing when Jason Witten got older.
He runs that same hook route. I saw like some NFL guys talk about this. Like, he's running that hook route so much like Jason Witten. Like, they look like identical. Yeah.
And he's going to make every catch. He's not going to drop a pass. And now I say that he'll drop something crucial in the Super Bowl because it's jinxed him. But that was kind of like Witten. The one thing that differentiates Witten from Kelsey is Witten was an outstanding blocker.
Yeah.
So you could keep him on the field every play, and it wouldn't matter if you ever threw to him; he'd impact the game. That's not the case with Kelsey. Though I will say, this past game, I watched him throw 2 or 3 legitimate blocks that were good blocks, unlike Mahomes.
Well, he had
runs.
the lead block on the Mahomes touchdown,
and I was actually very impressed because I don't know the last time I saw him try to block someone.
Yeah.
So good for him for that, and that's maybe something I think we've talked about this. Tony Gonzalez said later in his career he realized and learned how to be a better blocker, and he used to have no desire to block. He was open about that, like, I'm not blocking anyone. And so maybe Kelsey's figuring out, hey, I don't have the same step I used to, not as explosive. How it's going to impact the game and impact winning, and that's the most important part.
Yeah, what I noticed too is the Bills played a lot of man to man, and man to man against Kelsey right now with his skill set, he can't really get open too much. But if they play zone, he rips you apart.
Correct. He'll find the soft spot, and man to man. You're right. He's not going to get open straight off the route. But he's going to get open when Mahomes scrambles because
he had 2 catches. He had like 2 catches
because it's like a zone defense at that point. Find whatever hole is there in the scramble drill. So yeah, pretty amazing, pretty impressive stuff for them. I don't know if you're surprised about this. I'm not going to say surprised, but kind of like, come on, people, let's get over it. The vitriol towards the Chiefs and all of them, is that warranted? I don't think so.
No, the social...
It's more fatigue, right? We're tired of seeing it.
I mean, you're not on social media, so I see it all, but it's like, you have to play the Chiefs and the refs. And it's like, do you? Like, a lot of people are upset about the first down call, the holding calls or lack thereof, and Mahomes getting hit like in the previous game, the roughing the passer calls or unnecessary roughness. At the end of the day, there are enough plays out there that it's not on the ref, and don't leave it to the refs. Correct. Right? How many times the Bills were 0 for 4, I think, on the tush push. Or like 1 for 5.
I don't know why they kept doing it.
I don't know why they kept doing it.
Inevitably, that was going to be the result. They weren't getting any push.
So you're going to leave it into the refs' hands, and we're going to leave it up to the antiquated measuring.
Yes.
Like chain gang over there.
Correct.
And you got 2 refs that don't know who's spotting what over there. You can't leave it into the refs' hands. Like, you have to make sure you get that first down. You have enough plays in that game to go win it, and you didn't execute enough. And the Chiefs execute in critical situations better than any team in the league, and they have for the last 8 years.
Correct.
So it's not on the officials. You have to beat them. You have to beat the Chiefs. You have to stop them. How many times they've run the same play action rollout with Mahomes or the read option where he keeps it in a critical situation? They did the same thing last year in the Super Bowl. And they've done it in every critical situation now, is that Mahomes keeping it. For some reason, no defense can stop it. Well, Andy Reid is so far ahead of everyone in that the play, the running back slip, like the
Yeah, I know, dude. Where you fake it to the running back and he just runs out to the flat.
And the last play to seal the game, right?
Yeah.
The second I saw it, I'm like, that running back's getting it. Like, Piron's getting it out of the backfield. This is exactly what the play is, because it's an easy pass. You know it's going to be complete, so the clock will run no matter what, even if you stop them. But I'm just watching that. I'm like, it's man. They know it's going to be man to man. There go 3. Got 3 receivers in a bunch sprinting to the right. You know that guy's peeling out, and the linebacker gets caught in the traffic. And it's such a simple play, but Andy Reid and Mahomes execute it so much better than everyone else, and for some reason, no one can stop it.
Yeah. Do you remember this amount of just hate towards the Patriots when they were going through it?
Oh my God, yes. Are you kidding me?
With the rest,
it was so much worse with the Patriots.
It was worse.
But no, so caveat though. Were you hearing it like when they beat the Eagles and Donovan McNabb and T.O. in the Super Bowl?
No, it was Jake
Delhomme and the Panthers in the Super Bowl.
No, it was the second. It was the second.
Correct.
3.
And it was the second because it was after they had adjusted the tuck rule just for Tom because of Tom and the Patriots. They created the rule about that you can't hit the QB below the legs just for Tom. If any other QB had torn his ACL, they wouldn't have done anything, right?
Correct.
You had the Deflategate thing. You had another rule on like a kind of like an alignment or substitution thing that they put in because Belichick found a loophole in it,
yeah.
right? So you had legitimately multiple rules that the NFL put in place just because of them. So that, dumping on them or whatever hate you want to call it was almost warranted because you were sitting there going, why did they get preferential treatment? But the Chiefs haven't done any of those things.
Well, there are some little things
there, but that's what you
no, Nick.
watch a James Harden game. How many calls is James Harden going to get?
I'm not watching
worse.
James Harden play
worse
any
than
sport.
anything you're going to see the Chiefs ever get.
No,
right. So
Nick, there's certain things like Mahomes, like the previous game, like he's trying to draw the personal foul. Like
that's the issue.
People don't like that. And then Travis Kelce is allowed to jaw and get in someone's face and headbutt someone, but the second someone else comes to protect their guy, they throw the flag. That's what pisses people off. And honestly, it pissed me off watching that game.
Me too. But that's the same stuff you would see if you played Coach K and Duke and Cameron Indoor Stadium.
Correct. They're in your head.
Yes.
They're in your head and they're doing it, and you have to play perfect, and you can't do it. You can't stoop to their level. They've been doing it. It's like they've been there before. You need to act like you've been there before, right? They know what they can get away with. They know exactly what they can get away with. You cannot leave anything up to the officials. And that's where I don't like seeing it because I like some of those things bother me, and I would like to see them lose because of that. But however, I can definitely respect what they're doing, and we need to appreciate what they're doing because it's insane that I never thought we'd see this again after the Patriots dynasty. Like after such dominance from the Patriots and what they were able to do, it was like there's no way in a league full of parity, and they do everything they can to level the playing field and to give each team a shot. There's no way another team could do this.
Yeah,
and here we go. Literally, I mean, the next 7 years is just the Chiefs.
I guess my last thought here about it is, isn't the point to win? Isn't the whole reason you go out there is you want to you sacrifice your body, you put all those hours of training and film study to win? So why are we criticizing a team that's winning better than perhaps anyone else ever? They're literally accomplishing the goal that we say is what you're supposed to work for, but yet we're going to belittle them and find faults in them. Like, then what's the point? Why do you even have competition out there? Like, you should be celebrating that.
Well, it's a product at the end of the day, right? So the NFL has figured out a way to market the Chiefs in a manner that gets them the views and the revenue and stuff, right? And you see it with, all the cameras panning to, who's with Taylor Swift in the box this week, and is Brittany Mahomes upset because Taylor isn't paying enough attention to her, right? I think it's the NFL has discovered, hey, we've got this cash cow. We need to milk this as much as possible. And is it to say that it's scripted or anything like that? No. But I think to some aspect there is, like you said, a little bit of leeway because the NFL knows, well, we'll get people to watch if, Travis Kelce is allowed to draw a little bit more than somebody else.
So you think it's almost like a WWE villain, like we want them to be the villain. That this will help when they win as the villain, it will be better, and when they lose as the villain, it'll be better. So if we create that kind of narrative, it helps our product as opposed to just play the game.
Yes, but I don't think it's like hey, we're all going to sit down.
It's not fixed. Yes.
No, I think they've realized, like, hey, people, like you said, it's turning into the Patriots dynasty. They've said, we're tired of not seeing our teams win because it's always the Chiefs, right? Mm-hmm. We wanted to see the Lions, we wanted to see the Bills, we want to see whoever it was, and like they lost, and now it's like great. Now it's another Patrick Mahomes year. So I think the NFL has realized that they've got this money making machine, and they're rightfully doing what they should to be milking it.
Yeah,
I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
People are going to tune in to root for them to lose.
Yeah.
Right? There'll be just Kansas City's the city of Kansas City is going to be like rooting for them to win, and the rest of the country is going to be rooting for them to lose. Well, actually, they're playing Philly, so I don't know about that.
I was going to say, you've got probably two fan bases that are obnoxious right now. You've got a Super Bowl viewing party made in heaven.
Yeah, I think what there was some graphic where it was like, a graphic of the states of like who's rooting against who, and it was like, St. Louis or Missouri and Kansas was rooting against the Eagles. Goodness, sound like Charlie.
God. So Pittsburgh is in Pennsylvania? There's two cities in Pennsylvania?
Pennsylvania was all green for the birds, and then literally the rest of the country was just blow up, missile launch, bonfire. Like
I saw one that was like that, but it was like Meteor 2025 or whatever, and the rest of it was like grayed out to be like a meteor. It's like, yeah, I mean, I'm anti-Eagles and whatnot, but
Speaking
I'm now
of
in Eagle country.
Eagles, yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
you are up there in Delaware.
Oh my
Hello,
God.
I'm in Delaware.
Did you visit a screen door factory?
The Eagles. Speaking of the Eagles, like we said, they played the Washington football team, and they ran past them to a convincing 55-23 victory to reach their second Super Bowl in 3 years. It'll be a rematch from 2 years ago when the Kelsey Bowl happened. This time, no Jason Kelsey, though. Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley each rushed for 3 touchdowns, and the Philadelphia Eagles rushed for a championship game record 7 scores on the ground, which is pretty amazing. I think I saw a stat that the 7 rushing touchdowns the Eagles scored in that game are more than the Cowboys scored on the ground the entire season. That should make you cough because that's so absurd.
But hey, they got their guy.
Oh yes, in shot we trust. It's going to be a shot show down there. The 55 points in the championship game is the most any team has scored in a conference championship since the AFL-NFL merger. We all remember where we were when that happened.
Yes.
So yes, the Eagles will be playing the Chiefs. I think I wanted Bills-Lions because two franchises and fan bases that are suffering so badly.
Yes, everyone did.
And they would guarantee that someone will be filled with the most elation possible. But if you're going to have another Super Bowl, KC, Philly rematch, pretty good, right? Especially the way those teams are built. It should be another close, good game because they're pretty complete. Both teams have skill at all 3 phases.
Do you think
on offense, defense, special teams, and levels of those line, quarterback, backfield, receivers, D-line, linebackers, secondary? They have skill throughout. They have skill at the kicking position as well. So
do you think the 2 weeks, like the 2 weeks before that game, gives Kansas City an advantage? Because I feel like Philly right now is a buzzsaw. I feel like they want to play like tomorrow.
But Philly's hurt. Cam
they
Jurgens
are hurt. Yes, they're 2
was
centers.
Hurt, didn't start. Randy Dickerson, who was
filling in,
fantastic guard. He had to move over to center because he played it in college. He got hurt, right? So those are 2 crucial pieces. Without them being healthy to handle Chris Jones and to help, right? That you could almost say the game's done. He'll destroy whoever they put in. If it's not those 2 guys, because once you put those 2 guys, then you have Mailata and Lane Johnson at the anchors. There's no real weak spot. Yeah, you could say we'll pick on the left guard, whoever that's going to be, but still you have 4 Pro Bowlers out there and studs that can help block and handle Chris Jones. But even if you take one of them, Jurgens or Dickerson, out of the equation, I think that is the key matchup almost, like more so than like Trent McDuffie against A.J. Brown and the Eagles receivers and vice versa, the Eagles' young secondary versus the Chiefs' speed at receiver. I think more of the matchup is Chris Jones against those Jurgens and Dickerson, and that, I think, with the 2-week layoff, favors Philly.
Okay.
Anytime you give Andy Reid, though, time, that favors him. He's the best at scripting the first, 1 or 2 series of a game.
Yeah, and he's obviously the best in critical situations, as we've mentioned here before. But yeah.
So I think it should be a fun matchup. I'm looking forward to it. Like you said, we have 2 weeks, so next week really, they're off. The whatever Pro Bowl crap that they do now is going to take place. It's not even a game. It's like
the 5th option for these players I think they went down to like Russell Wilson is going to the Pro Bowl now, and Drake May. And it's,
Go Russ.
like I think the quarterbacks for the AFC are Russell Wilson, Drake May, and Joe Burrow. Two of those don't belong.
Who are they?
Drake May and Russell Wilson.
Oh, thank you.
Why? Like I mean I get it. Like Josh Allen and Lamar probably aren't gonna be there, but those are your those are your two MVP candidates.
Yes. Yeah.
It's annoying that we like go down the list and go, well, that's a Pro Bowler. Like, do we still have to count them as a Pro Bowler?
Should the NFL consider doing a mid-season break and having this like the
All-Star,
the other sports where it's in the middle season?
It doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't work because with the NFL. The risk of injury for anything they do.
What I'm saying
is
not necessarily have it as a game.
Just announce the start. Announce the players.
Yeah, something. you could do the same stupid crap, but
do you have enough stats at that point? Because
yes, do you have enough stats in baseball? Do you have enough stats in?
Yes.
You say just because it's more games? Yes, you have enough. You have enough to know. 9, 10 games. Heck, you do it right after Thanksgiving.
I mean, I don't know.
Like, cause that would. Like you do it after Thanksgiving, and then it's a thing.
Well, it used to be after the Super Bowl. It used to be the week after the Super Bowl, right?
The whole time we were growing up, it was the week before.
Was it?
But it may have been Hawaii. in the annals.
It was just more fun.
Annals of history. It was
just more fun when they went to Hawaii.
Well, they went to Hawaii. They did skills competition stuff.
Bronco Nagurski didn't get no bye week, and now he's dead.
Thanks.
Maybe the bye week's good.
It's got to be physically taxing. I mean, you hear the guys talk about the Thursday night turnover from like if you have a Sunday game to Thursday, like
after you play 17 to 19 games, like you're playing.
I can't imagine what these guys' bodies feel like right now. I mean, granted,
Toradol.
Who's going to get the number 1 draft pick? The Giants. I can't imagine the Giants are feeling any better right now than the Eagles might be.
Who
Titans?
Is the number 1?
The Titans, right?
Titans.
But I don't. I think there's talk of them trading out of that spot. But yeah, no. That's why I bring up the middle of the season one. Like because they haven't done 17 games, they've only done 9 or 10 games. You can make it essentially an extra bye week for other guys, right? So you allow these guys who they're forcing out to travel to London and Berlin and Munich and all these other places to play games too. Or Brazil, they have these guys go, right? They're asking more of these guys than they ever have. Why not have an extra bye week in there that's the Pro Bowl week in that
they're going to have
your 2 weeks before the Super Bowl and you're on schedule?
Well, because if, Pat Mahomes is there and he tears his ACL, I mean...
Yeah, or he hurts his elbow or shoulder just throwing around or something.
I mean...
But that's the same thing if Derek Jeter was going to go play shortstop.
But if you do that at the end of the year, it's not a problem, right? Baseball is just a lot different than football.
Derek
I understand
Jeter
they're not
picking up a ground ball and throwing it is not much different than Mahomes just taking a 3-step drop and hitting someone on an out route.
I get it.
Well, I'm not saying play a game. I'm saying still do the skill stuff, but make it so it's in the middle of the season, so you don't have guys opting out and you give the rest of the league a break.
It needs to be just entirely skill stuff, if you ask me. Like, bring in like a long drive contest for these guys. Like, I want to see how far these guys can, hit a golf ball. I want to see who can, sprint around a track and field the fastest.
Don't they do that? Isn't that what I have yet to watch it because it's
it's dodgeball and they still have like the throwing and the catching. They do like how many footballs can you hold and catch at one time?
So dumb.
And
You're right.
We need to get back to the bench press. Who can bench press the most?
Yes. Make it a combine.
They need the race. Yeah, because they used to run like a 40. They used to have like was it like Darryl Green run against Deion Sanders?
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's awesome.
Who could throw the football the farthest? Like I want to see that kind of stuff.
I was actually just watching a clip from 2002
with Jim Harbaugh.
2002.
One of the Harbaughs is in it.
No, 02 was like Peyton and Tom and Doug Flutie and Jake the Snake, I think, was there. I think Aaron Brooks, I believe, is from UVA, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so.
But Aaron Brooks, I think, won That's over like 73-yard throw he had. And I was like, you're right.
But
that was awesome. I loved
but at the same
watching
time,
that.
average just pull an average guy from the stands and be like, all right, for reference, let's do this.
Yes.
Like every single event,
like
22 yards,
like what
like a
Mackey
lottery
does with the
like this is the
Yes.
experience. Like you could win a trip to the Pro Bowl and be the participant on the long drive or whatever, or the 40-yard dash. Like that's the kind of stuff that I would tune in for. Because then all the degenerates out there are like, is he gonna get within 20 yards? Like
you can gamble it too. Yes.
Oh yeah, you could gamble.
over
That'd
under
be
53 and a half yards.
Yes. No,
You're
you're
gonna see a
right.
lot of people not be able to throw the ball 35 yards.
Right, like that's the stuff people are going to tune in to see, not this like flag football, dodgeball
Like,
crap.
It's
fun, but
agree.
like I don't care.
I agree with you. That's all right. We fixed it. Right?
Yeah, there you go. Goodell, are you listening, Commissioner? We will take compensation for this idea. By the way,
What was our sponsor for teachers to help us line something?
Lane Switch Consulting. Right, that's
Lane
our
Switch, call them up.
Yep.
Tell them to call our guy Goodell. We've got a proposal for him.
Yep, this is it. This is the out. Anything else football-wise before we move on?
No, I'm good.
I mean,
Right, so-
shout out to the Commanders for a heck of a year. I mean, you guys grew up in the Northern Virginia area like I did. I don't know if you guys hated them as much as I did growing up.
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
we
we
did.
hated them.
You had to admire. They had a heck of a season. Jaden Daniels is going to be a heck of a problem.
Yeah, did you see Dan Snyder's
Oh,
pissed
yes.
off?
Oh yes, that makes it better. I think part
I
of
read that article today. It was so great. It was
Yes.
so great. He wants to buy a soccer team now.
Oh yeah, pound sand. They don't even have sand. Lick rocks over there, Snyder. Gosh, yes, agreed. Was nice to see, which is not something like you said. We never would have said that before growing up, but it was nice to see them show life and look like a competent, well-run, caring organization that actually gave a shit.
Shout out
once.
the local
Well, on
legend
that-
Jonathan Allen.
Well, on
That's
that
right.
note too, the article on ESPN talked about how to run an organization, and I guess after one of the games, they asked Magic Johnson and Harris outside the locker room, and Magic Johnson made some comment like, "You hire good people and you get out of their way and let them do their job." And I was like,
Yes.
"What a dig! What a
Yes.
dig! That's an all-time dig for Magic Johnson."
Because Magic can. Magic Man. All right, that's going to do it for our football segment this week. Like we said, sponsored by Lane Switch Consulting. Again, follow them on Instagram at laneswitch_consulting, and follow them also on LinkedIn to get your tips and success stories and updates. Now, moving on to tennis. If you didn't know, or do we have Milos queued up, by the way?
Another game for Milo!
Thank you. Thank you, Milos. If you didn't know, the first major or Grand Slam, as they sometimes are interchangeable for tennis, took place over the last fortnight. It was the Australian Open, or the Happy Open, or the Happy Major, like they want to
That's
call
what
it.
it's nicknamed.
Yes. Well, because it's in Australia, everyone's
Oh, I might.
beer, coffee, beer. So
COBE.
yes. So yes, it's and I think now it's the most attended major of the four. Like they get the most people to come in or something like that. Like it
I'm
does
assuming
look very
is that
nice. It's in Melbourne.
Sydney? Oh, it's in Melbourne. Okay.
Yeah, and Melbourne looks beautiful. So the Australian Open that wrapped up over this past weekend. Just to give a quick recap, in the men's semifinals, you had the number 1 and defending champion, seed Yannick Sinner. He was taking on number 21 American Ben Shelton from
UVA.
No, went to the University of Florida.
Oh.
But he was a NCAA champ. Unfortunately, Shelton, who I believe was making his second Grand Slam semifinal appearance, he lost pretty handily to Sinner 7-6, 6-2, 6-2. The other semifinal, you had the number 2 seed, Sasha Zverev, taking on number 7 and possibly best player of all time, Novak Djokovic. After the first set, though, which took 81 minutes, which is almost an hour and a half, but for those of you who needs a conversion. It ended in a tiebreak. Djokovic wound up retiring from the match with a torn muscle in his leg, and the fans were not happy about it. It almost made them feel like, oh, if he had won, he would have kept going, but because he lost the set, he was like, whatever, I quit. But he, I believe, tweeted or posted a picture of his MRI showing the tear in his leg of like, no, look, my literally was held together with tape, and I gutted out an hour and a half for you people. So you had Sinner versus Zverev in the men's final. On the women's side, you had the number 1 seed and also defending champion Aryna Sabalenka. She was taking on number 11 Paula Badosa from Spain. Sabalenka won 6-4, 6-2, again pretty handedly, to advance to her 3rd straight Australian Open final. And in the other semifinal, you had the number 2 seed, the Queen of Clay, Iga Swiatek, taking on the other American, number 19, Madison Keys. And that was a fantastic match. Keys had fantastic matches throughout this tournament, but after she dropped the first set 7-5, Keys was able to regroup. She took the second set 6-1, just straight ran her through that one. And then she outlasted Swiatek in the third set 7-6 and 10-8 in the tiebreak to advance to her second ever Grand Slam final, which the previous one was the 2017 U.S. Open where she lost to Sloane Stephens, and it was her first ever final at the Australian Open. Now, so you had the finals. You had number 1 Sinner versus number 2 Zverev, and you had number 1 Sabalenka versus number 19 Keys. I'm going to start with the women's final because that was awesome. That was fantastic. The men's one, not so much, but the women's one, awesome, right? Madison Keys, she pulled off the huge upset over the very heavily favored Sabalenka. Again, not that Keys is a bad player. Keys has been a fantastic player for years, but it was a incredible run for her to get to this point. And we're again, Sabalenka, 3 straight Aussie Open finals, the defending champ. She won the U.S. Open last year as well, so she's a hardcore master. And Keys was able to claim the upset 6-3, 2-6, 7-5 to claim her first ever Grand Slam title. That 2-6 that she lost in that second set, I don't know if controversial, but after the first set, Sabalenka, as you're allowed to do, went to the locker room to get changed or go to the bathroom, whatever it is, right? And they don't have a rule for how long you can take it. There's no timer like, oh, boom, click the clock, you have 5 minutes, right? They just say a reasonable amount of time. So some people take advantage of that and will stay in there and make the other player get out of their rhythm. Or who's just sitting on the court by themselves doing nothing. And that's kind of what happened is Keys' first serve percentage and first serve points won dropped precipitously because of the time that she got out of her rhythm, right? And so it looked like, okay, this might be her undoing, but to come back and win that set 7-5, and that 7-5, like it wasn't a single break point until Sabalenka was serving down 5-6, and Keys broke her to win the match, which is pretty amazing.
How do we know that Sabalenka was doing that as a strategy and not she just had some bad shrimp on the Barbie, mate?
I mean, yes. You don't. That's part of the strategy, right? Is you can't tell, right? You'll never know. But it's not that uncommon to see that. So, yeah, you're right. Maybe some bad shrimp, like Peter Griffin trying to squat his way to the bathroom. Right?
Yeah.
But yes, Keys was able to win and become the oldest woman at 29 years young to be a first-time major champ since Flavia Pennetta won the 2015 U.S. Open at age 33. Keys is also the second oldest ever to win the Australian Open after Li Na, who was 31 in 2014. In the Open era, Keys is 46 major appearances. So if you're doing math, right, there's 4 majors in a year. So we're talking over a decade, over more than 12 years or 11 years, over 11 and a half years from when she started being a pro. So her 46 major appearances before her first title are the third most appearances ever before winning your first one, behind Panetta's 49 and Marion Bartoli's 47 when she claimed the 2013 Wimbledon, which is in a lot of circles considered maybe the biggest upset ever. Keys is also the first woman since Serena in 2005 to beat the number 1 and number 2 ranked women at the Australian Open. And along the way, Keys defeated number 28, Alina Svitolina, number 10, Danielle Collins from UVA, number 6, former Wimbledon champion Elena Rybakina, and then number 2, Swiatek, I think 5-time major champion, and number 1 Sabalenka. So she literally ran the gauntlet, right? 1, 2, 6, 10, 28 she defeated to claim the title. So there's no gimmies, no cheapies. That is an incredible accomplishment for Madison Keys. Good to see her get that, because it really felt like after that loss to Sloane Stephens 8 years ago in that U.S. Open, you felt like that was her shot, that she wasn't going to get back. But to see her pull this out, especially to upset a heavily favored younger opponent, was pretty amazing. On the men's side, like I said, it was number 1 Sinner versus number 2 Zverev. Sinner dominated Zverev in straight sets at 6-3, 7-6, 6-3. He faced 0 break points. Zverev never even got a chance to break his serve, which is remarkable. It's Sinner's 2nd consecutive Australian Open. It runs his match win streak to 21, so he's won 21 straight matches, which is, that's several tournaments worth. He's the youngest man to win back-to-back Aussie Open since Jim Courier in 92-93. Sinner has won 3 of the last 5 majors, because he also won the U.S. Open in the fall, this past fall. And his record since the start of last year is 80-6 with 9 titles, which is like Tiger Woods, Scottie Scheffler-esque from a year ago. He's the 8th man in the Open era to start his career 3-0 in Grand Slam finals. So he's never lost in a final. He is right now dominating that. I will say, though, all of his championships in the majors have been on hard courts. So he hasn't fared as well on the grass and the clay, which is where you might see someone like an Alcaraz, who, a lot of ways, moves quicker, takes smaller steps, kind of like Federer did. You might see Alcaraz claim more of those titles and see Sinner very much the same way Djokovic claimed those hardcore titles. You might see that kind of dichotomy going forward between the two of them. But, pretty good stuff there from Sinner. I think Zverev came up to him after the match, like when he shook hands at like the net and said, essentially, you're too good. Like he basically was like, I was never going to beat you tonight. You were way too good. I had no chance. So that's kind of like maybe the ultimate compliment for someone. And last thing from the Australian Open, I wanted to mention this. I was watching this, and I thought this was fascinating and unbelievable. It was the men's quad wheelchair final. So these guys are in wheelchairs, and it's doubles. And it's incredible. Their ability to – they let the ball bounce twice, which is good because they can't get it. But their ability to push off while they're holding the racket, hit the ball, turn around and go is nuts. But just to mention for it, after taking the first set 6-1, number 2 Lapthorne and Schroeder earned a break late in the second set on a 40-shot rally, which was even more impressive because, again, they're pushing themselves in wheelchairs to go hit the ball. So they went up 5-3 against number 1 Sassone and Vink, but they could not consolidate that break, so they still held the lead at 5-4. But they were able to immediately break them back to give them the match in the championship 6-1, 6-4. So I thought very cool stuff there. Anything else tennis-wise before we move on to our next new segment?
Another game for Milos!
Thank you.
Another game.
Milos.
It's on a
Game,
loop.
set, and match. Yeah, Milos.
It's on a loop.
It's on a loop. All right, so we're going to move on. We're going to actually introduce a new segment here. I'm going to go ahead and move my camera a little bit to show you guys the very cool, very sweet breaking mat that I got. There we go. There we go. That's better. So, as you can see, this breaking mat that says Collector on it from Virginia Beach, Virginia, this was provided to us by Collectible Kings in Virginia Beach. They also have another location, their flagship store in Winchester, Virginia, so 2 locations in the Commonwealth. Big shout out to them. Thanks for this mat. I did a little nice tagline for them. Stop me if you heard this before. They're the Kings and nobody beats them. Collectible Kings. Visit them in Virginia Beach and Winchester. Thank you, boy. So,
Thanks.
we're going to open.
Wiz.
Yes, just like the Wiz. We're going to open this nice pack here. I have a blaster box of Bowman Chrome U Football 2024. So basically, these are
These college players. Let's
right?
go. All right.
Yes. And before you couldn't get cards like this, or they wouldn't have the logos of the teams on them. But now they do, so it's awesome. Like, I got a pack last year. I got a Roma Dunze last year. It was sweet. So we're gonna crack this little box open here, see if we can get something cool out of this.
We tried this with the Tops, Nathan, and they screwed us on one card, and we guarantee you it was the Paul Skeens card.
So how much was one of these boxes, and how many packs do they give you?
All right, so I believe one of these boxes will run you about 25. I think it's about 25 at Collectible Kings. There are, how many packs do I have in here?
3.
That's not true. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 cards of 4 packs, so 28 cards.
So about $1 a card.
Yes, but you got some cool cards here. So I'm gonna crack this open.
Some ASMR.
So have you figured out the correct way to shift them so that you get the good one on the bottom?
Oh no, not yet. So you can see here, right? Yeah, this is Colorado State. This is their quarterback, Braden Fowler Nicolosi. Is a 2-year starter for them. He's got big upside, big arm. But you see right here that first, right? That means this is the first time he's ever appeared on a card ever. Okay. So that's something you want to look for. So again, this isn't the first card they printed, but just the first time he's had a card printed of him that's been in circulation. So like that's a cool one. That's a unique one. Yeah.
Alex
Orgy.
Orgy. He's
Orgy. Who did he just transfer to?
UNLV.
Did he really? Oh yeah, he's going to compete with your boy Anthony Calandria from UVA.
Yeah, imagine what Calandria was thinking. Like, all right, I transferred there. I'm probably getting the starting job, and then here comes Mr. He was probably like a 5-star recruit, wasn't he?
I'm sure.
Yeah, but he can't throw the football, so
no, he can't. They're probably gonna. Oh, Major NA. Look at that. They're probably gonna move him to some sort of role where he's not throwing the ball.
Slide it closer to the collect part. Other way. God damn it, Nick.
Right, this?
You. Yes.
Okay.
Right there.
And these are cool cards, as you can see, like the coloring on them. Here's one, Trayshawn Ward, running back from Boston College. I can't say I know who that is, but I do like this kind of like pink. You can see here it's a little different from the other card before, where you got that refracting going on there, so that would make you think that it is, a rarer card, but you can see here he doesn't have the 1. So that means there's a card made from him before. It doesn't mean that this couldn't be valuable. It just means that, he's had cards made from before.
He's had a good
here's one.
College career.
Look at that. A UVA player. That's Malachi Fields.
He's really good, and guess what? He's not on UVA anymore.
No, he's not. He just.
How many of these people are going to be like not on their teams? He's on
Notre. I have a.
He's on Notre Dame now.
A Caleb Downs card from Alabama from last year. That I got.
I mean, it's almost like they become a collector's item just because they're just going to transfer. Like, I remember this guy. This guy used to be on UVA. He was really, really good.
Yeah, Tyler Van Dyke, if you remember him from Miami, went to Wisconsin.
Yeah, Wisconsin. Yes, terrible at Wisconsin.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have one from him from Miami last year. Yeah, everyone has an excuse.
Well, no, he had he transferred from Miami because he had like a medical issue with his leg. Something like the skin was detached from the muscle on his leg. Yeah. So they're like, that's why.
So Wisconsin said we'll give this guy a starting job.
Well, then he got it, and then he tore his ACL, I think. So then he was on the sideline like week 2. So he just can't catch a break.
Some more ASMR for you. But yeah, Malachi Fields did just transfer to Notre Dame, by the way, for those.
Yeah, that's a really good card, too. That one stings there. Who's that one?
This would be Ethan Burke, who I think is a very good DN for Texas, right?
Hook him. Yeah, I believe so.
Right, that's a cool card. I like that. I'm hoping to get a lineman.
Oh, is that Miami of Ohio?
Yes, it is. That is Brett Gabbert from Miami of Ohio.
Blaine
Do we know if
brother.
he's related? Is he?
Brother.
Oh, wow.
I think it's his younger brother.
That makes this even better.
Hell,
and it's his
Blaine's, and it's his first. Right? Oh, here's a cool looking card. Byron Brown, the QB from USF. You see, again, the coloring, the pink refracting on it. That's a nice one. I like that. It's the first 2. It's pretty cool. Oh, that's a good one. Mason Graham, who I'm sure, boy, is one of your favorites.
Absolute stud.
Yes. They didn't even need him to beat Alabama.
I know. That's what's hilarious about the SEC, the big bad Alabamas of the SEC. They got beat without Mason Graham.
Y'all don't even know he was a virgin until he was 28, and now roll tide.
That's on a loop too. But Mason Graham,
I accidentally hit the play button after that one.
and a lot of circles projected to possibly be the first defensive lineman taken.
He'll be a top 5 pick, I believe.
And it's all about need, though, with that position, too. No matter how good you are, it's all about need. Oh, is this... Oh, I'm sure I know this. Daniel Highshaw Jr. from Kansas. I feel like it's a Big 12.
Is he a running back?
He is a running back, yes.
Daniel Highshaw Jr.? I don't... Well, because they had Devin Neal, who is so good.
Yes, that's who I thought this was first. Devin Neal was awesome.
He was the backup running back.
But what's cool,
pretty
too,
decent year.
Right, you get a backup here. Sweet-ass jerseys, by the way. I love the black Kansas jerseys. But, I was looking through my stuff before. Like I had a pack of Bowman Chrome U from basketball, and I have a Janai Broom in there from last year. And he really wasn't anyone. And it's like a pink refractor, too.
He's might win player of the year.
Yeah, I didn't think anything of it at the time because I was like, I don't know who this guy is. But that's kind of cool that you get these backups in here that turn out to be sometimes studs.
Marshall.
Is that Cole Pennington?
That is Chad Pennington's son. Yes, it is.
Oh, my gosh. Awesome.
I believe he also transferred.
Really?
I believe so. Don't quote me on that yet, but I don't. God, I don't know why he would because that's a legacy.
What's the word?
Gardner Webb. I think he transferred. Well, I don't want to say that, Nick. Come on now.
Okay. This is a family show.
It's a family show.
Jacob Manu, who's another Big 12 linebacker for you.
Yeah, Arizona wasn't very good this year, so
no, they weren't.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, they didn't get a lot of run. Here's first Notre Dame of the bunch, Mitchell Evans, the tight end, who I do like a lot, but he had some bad injury like 2 years ago that kind of hampered him in his route running. But he's got the hands, he's got the blocking. I think this is the guy who has a chance at the next level, to believe it or not. In that long line of Notre Dame tight ends who, all of them make it to the NFL because they can all block and can all catch. So they always have a spot on a roster. So I like that one. That's a cool one. What's next? Getting that ASMR going here.
What's next? What are we going to pull next?
What's going to be pulled?
Oh my, look at this one.
Jalen Walker, big-time defender from the University of Georgia. That's a good
bark like a dog, grown man barking like a dog.
Have
you ever been around Georgia fans, Nathan? Oh my god, I because we don't live in SEC country, they go to for some reason they have alumni base in Richmond, and they go to
everyone has one. All over.
But they have watch parties at Gus's, which is our local sports bar. Shout out Gus's. But they'll put an inflatable Georgia bulldog in the corner. Some guy will run around with the Georgia flag, and they'll sit there and they'll do the chants, and they will literally bark at you, and they're like, "What the fuck am I watching? What is going on?"
Gotta let them know you're there. Gotta let them know you're out there.
45-year-old man with two little girls watch this game go.
How else are you gonna learn? Here's Jay Knott, the stud running back from Cal. I think he said he was coming back for this year or next year. I believe he was hurt a lot of this past
year. To play
year.
for Cal?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Here's a Purdue card. I didn't know they made those because normally, Purdue sucks. Dylan Tiedemann, I believe the safety, he transferred. Definitely transferred.
He had to have if he's any good.
I think he was a big time transfer, one of the higher ranked.
I believe so too.
Out there.
Where did he transfer? Is he still looking? He transferred to Oregon.
Oregon. That's going to be a good pickup for them. That's a cool card too. That's a little different. Here's a Quinshawn Judkins card.
That's big. Yeah.
As you can see, it doesn't have the 1, so it's not the first, but it's an Ohio State one.
It's the first Ohio State, probably.
Yes.
It's probably Ole Miss last year.
Exactly. Who's an absolute monster out there for Ohio State. I think in the championship game it was averaged 10 yards a carry. So, I still haven't gotten a lineman, by the way. Only one D-line?
Yeah. The only one was Mason Graham.
There's Ethan Garbers, UCLA's quarterback, who I think he also transferred. Who didn't transfer is probably the better question. Another Jacob Manu card.
He must be really good.
I think he's a pro prospect. I think he is. Oh, here's an interesting one. Caden Salter, Liberty's old quarterback, who just transferred to Colorado to be with Coach Prime. He put up some big numbers.
Good.
He had a down year this year, but he put up some big numbers the year before when they went undefeated and made that.
That's a cool card with the Liberty.
Cool card. Ricardo Hallman from Wisconsin.
Oh, is he the corner or safety, I think?
Cornerback.
I believe he's very, very good.
Yeah, so they try not to put slouches in these cards, right? You want
the
biggest of the best. But yeah, that's a cool one. Again, still waiting for a lineman.
You're not going to see one.
You realize that there is no other position on the field that has more from their position group than linemen and offensive linemen. There are 5 of them on the field at all times, and no other position group has more than that.
They're also the only position group that doesn't have to depend on anyone else. As Harbaugh says. Dylan, was it?
Oh, this is Dalen Everett. I'm not sure I know who he is.
I don't know who that is.
But he plays for the Dogs, so he must be good. Donovan Edwards, very good running back from Michigan. He's also, I believe, entering the NFL draft. He's not as high of a prospect as I thought.
No, he didn't have as great of a year. He was the guy, and then all of a sudden fell back, and then had a great national championship game, and then he was supposed to be unbelievable this year, and really wasn't. This
is a cool card.
Is that Delaware?
No, this is Michigan.
Is it Michigan? Oh, I didn't see it. I was looking at the
Derek
bottom
Moore,
left,
but this is as you can see here down at the bottom. I don't know if you can see because
it's hard to see because the hologram.
Yes, but you see it's numbered 67 out of 199. So there's only 199 that they printed. We got one of them. That's a cool card. I'm not sure I know who Derek Moore is, but edge rusher. He plays for Michigan, so must be pretty good. Jaden Mayava, I believe he transferred.
Mayava.
No, I think he's staying there. I think he's supposed to be their starter.
Yeah, Moss is the one that transferred.
Yeah, yes. Miller Moss transferred out.
Because of this kid. So that's a cool card. And last pack.
Last pack. You're not going to get a lineman.
It's going to be 4 linemen.
It's going to be a starting line. It's just going to be like Michigan's offensive line. Iowa State was at
Abu Sama the third.
Oh yeah, he 2 years ago he had 300 yards rushing in the snow against Kansas State.
Which we learned their rivalry is called Farmageddon.
Yeah, it's a fantastic rivalry.
It's the best name. Chandler Rogers, Cal QB. Not sure I know who that is.
Is that related to any of the other Rogers? No.
I don't know. We're gonna have to get our crack research team going on that. It doesn't say anything here. It says Major's undecided. NA.
No, it's definitely not.
But I didn't think so. Yeah. This is another cool pink refractor. Torian York from Texas A&M.
Okay.
Linebacker. And shocker, not a single lineman. Ishmael Mahdi from Texas State, who I think he transferred, was a sought-after transfer, I believe, at a running back position. But
let me see.
Again, very cool. Love these. The Bowman Chromie cards. These are so cool. Like you said, as someone who loves college football, to get just a little blaster box of these and to open them is awesome. So
I have him committing to Arizona.
I like it. So that's going to do it for our breaking segment, brought to you by Collectible Kings in Winchester and Virginia Beach. Sorry. Or at least aided by Collectible Kings, because they gave us that sweet-ass breaking mat. So that's going to move us on. Any closing things that you liked from that? Disliked?
I thought it was cool just seeing college players on it. It's just it's different. It feels different than just having your NFL guys or whatever. I like it. It's just annoying that I don't know if it's annoying or awesome that they're transferring all these guys transferring to different.
I know. I was thinking that too.
It's cool. Malachi Fields UVA. Well, He doesn't play
He'll have a
there
Notre
anymore.
Dame card next year. But I think that's the key to get the first, right? So I got the first one, the UVA one. I have an Isaac McNeely. I'm sure you like him.
I love Isaac
from
McNeely. Yeah.
From UVA, got last year in the basketball set. The basketball set's supposed to come out soon, so I'm going to get my hands on a blaster box of
See if we
those.
can
And
get
we'll
Cooper
open those.
Flag.
Yeah. Yep, I think he's on the box, and they have a sweet-ass card for him in there as well. So we'll see if we can get our hands on a blaster box for those. So we're going to move on to some golf. Right, that's why
The whole
Nathan's
reason
here
why
in the first
Nathan's
place,
here.
right? And sit here for an hour and listen to us drone on and on about football. Football? Do you even kick the ball in that sport? Move on to golf.
Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Golf this weekend had the Farmers Insurance Open at Torrey Pines. It was very, very windy and challenging conditions. I believe Harris English got the one-stroke victory over Samuel Stevens, so I don't even know who that is.
He's a rookie on tour.
Where's he from?
That's a good question. I just know this is he just earned his tour card this past year.
That makes sense.
What
I
was
was
his name?
like Scott Stevens, but he doesn't play. He doesn't play golf.
What was his name?
Samuel Stevens
Samuel
came in second to Harris
Stevens
English
with a V or a PH?
with a V. Yep.
With a V, yeah.
And that was very, very challenging conditions. Torrey Pines is such a cool course, but that wind was whipping, and they were struggling. I saw Matsuyama went to line up a putt, and literally the ball rolled like off the green. And it wasn't like he was on a slope; he was just standing there.
The dude's 28. You want to guess the college
Wake
for
Forest?
Samuel Stevens? It is a Big 12 school.
Illinois? No,
I said Big 12.
I know. I thought you said Big 10.
Old
Big
school
12,
Big 12 or new Big 12?
Old Big 12.
Kansas,
No.
Iowa State.
No.
Baylor.
No.
That's a good guess. Texas Tech.
Nope.
Okay, wait,
I'm a man. I'm 40.
OK State. Yeah, that
Yeah.
should have been our first
Wow.
guess.
That should have been. There's good golfers out of OK State, right?
Heck of
Oh,
a
a ton of
facility,
them.
too.
Yeah, that was dumb. I don't know why I'm throwing
Come
out
on.
Kansas. What the hell's going on?
No one's golfing
The
at
show's over.
Kansas.
It's okay. But really, the big thing that happened over this past week was the TGL. And that, if you don't know what it is the indoor golf league that was started by Rory and Tiger, and like so many really famous people own teams. Like I don't know, boy, if you knew
Mike
this,
Trout.
Luke Combs owns the
Oh,
Atlanta,
really?
the Atlanta team. Him,
Oh, sweet.
Ryan Seacrest, Chipper Jones, and Matt
Matt-
Ryan are all
Ryan.
owners of Atlanta.
I saw
Drive.
Mike Trout there.
Yeah,
last
Trout
night.
and Noah Khan were there as well. Altador was in attendance, just watching. He's interested in purchasing.
Serena
minority
owns the
stakes.
LA team, right?
Serena and didn't her husband like invest in this? Like,
Yeah,
didn't he
so
put
a lot of
bunch
these guys are
money?
like the limited partners or limited owners. They don't
Yes.
own the team, but they have stake in the team,
Yes.
which is a
But-
cool thing.
Yes. Yeah, Serena's husband.
from UVA.
Yes, thank you.
I believe he founded Reddit.
Yes, he did.
He did.
Founded Reddit. But so in the TGL, you had the match this past week was Tigers, Jupiter, Lynx, GC, I believe, playing against Rory's Boston Common GC, and the first couple matches. I don't know about you, Nathan. It felt like guys were trying to figure this out, and then this match, it felt like they understood more strategy, more how to chip, how to putt, because it's different, how to hit off of the surfaces, and that there was a lot better, higher quality golf being played in this one, or just felt entertaining because the teams were even, and there might be some disparity on some of the teams. I don't know what you thought watching it.
I think it's kind of a little bit of both. I think, like you said, it is a new form that they've got to figure out. I mean, it's alternate shot, I believe, for holes 1 through 7. Then it's I want to say singles matches, and then the last one is just like 1v1 or whatever it is. But it's a new format. I think a lot of it too is just a lot of these guys might not be totally invested yet. I mean,
I'll tell you who's
think about it,
invested.
right? Like,
Tom Kim is invested.
absolutely.
Tom Kim was awesome. He's on Tiger's team, Jupiter, and he stole the show. He was by far the best player out there.
Absolutely. I mean, he's one of the young rising stars in the game, and I think I can't remember if it was a draft process or how these teams were picked, but I'm sure Tiger definitely had some say in making sure Tom Kim was on this team along with Kisner and the other gentleman. I can't remember his name is.
Who was on their team?
And I think
it's also weird too. They picked 4 guys, but they picked 3 to play.
Yeah, and that's where I think some of this needs to be figured out, because you have a team of 4, but every week you're shuffling out one guy, right? And Tiger's never
why not just play all 4?
Out. Yeah. Or there's some nuance to it that they've got to figure out. But it was electric last night.
Yes.
I mean, I've never been more, I guess,
Max
glued. Homa. Oh yeah, Homa, yeah. Who was at who had to withdraw from the Farmers. That's probably why he wasn't there. But I mean, just understanding that it's an entertainment. It's not like, oh, I'm going to watch a bunch of guys play golf. Like it's almost like a Top Golf type deal. But like the pace, the hole designs, all of that, like it was just a breath of fresh air to like see these guys having fun, like joking around, and it was just nice. Like it's exactly what I think personally golf needs right now. Just this like fresh, fun take.
You know what I feel like it's like what the match, like the TNT match things that they do was trying, like what it was supposed to look like. Like it's much more fast paced because it's a simulator. So you're right there. You're listening to them talk and banter and do all this stuff. You don't have to have them in the golf carts like, oh, what'd you say? Like what happened here? Like, and it takes like an hour to play 2 holes or whatever. This is so quick. I love this.
Yeah, so I mean, these guys powered through the first 7 holes in under an hour, and then
things got tight.
2 hours and 15 minutes to play 16 holes or 15 holes or whatever it was. And I mean, it's just like they hit their shots. Next thing you know, they're up on the green, or then it's like just one after the other. They're hitting shots, and it's like there's none of this downtime with, the blimp flying over the course, or, as much as I love hearing Jim Nance just like
hello friends.
Like just I could listen to him all day, just like narrate my life. Like that's great, but like I also want to see him doing that as golf is happening. So that was nice to see. Like, okay, well, Tiger hits his shot. There's a little bit of commentary as Rory's walking to the tee box, and then it quiets down. Rory hits his shot, it picks back up, and next thing you know, they're all 6 of them are walking to this rotating green, which is just absolutely insane. So cool. And it's like you don't ever miss a beat. So it's
you got that 40-second shot clock, right? The shot clock is
I could do without that. It's just the heartbeat. I think the heartbeat is obnoxious. I like the idea of the shot clock because, I mean, the Travelers or whatever, the Farmers, had a 5.5 hour final round with Harris English. So, I mean, I think the shot clock's good. I could just do without the sound effects, which I know.
You see, they also, like, the crowd is doing like college basketball crowds have done, where they start counting down the wrong time.
Yes.
Like, there's like 12 seconds. Like, they go 5, 4. That's so good. I love that.
Such a bunch of donks. I can't stand that.
That's the whole point, Nathan. Though.
I know, but that's the traditionalist in me. Like a guy yelling.
This is for the degenerates. Yeah,
and I understand that, but like in the tiebreaker, guys yelling out, "Throw the hammer!" And then Matt Berry goes, "Well, he can't throw the hammer because it's a tiebreaker." And it's like, come on, guys. Like, I'm like, have fun, but like, don't be an idiot. Like,
Tiger get a shot clock violation. I don't know if you saw that boy.
Oh, I did.
No, I missed it.
He was standing over a putt to.
Rory had just. He created the thing.
I know Rory had just missed his birdie putt, and Tiger standing over his birdie putt and gets a shot clock violation, which is a 1-stroke penalty.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So essentially, he
lost the hole because of it.
He lost the hole because
I know that's what I mean. Like, that's amazing.
And like you could just see the look on his face, like he didn't understand the concept of it. And then somebody it clicked, and he was like furious with himself.
Yeah, he created it.
But then Tom Kim to the rescue. Man, that kid is electric.
Yes. So to recap, what went down in the match? So Adam Scott, who was on Rory's Boston Common GC, was Adam Scott, Keegan Bradley, and Rory for that team. Again, they were going against Jupiter Lynx, which was Tiger, Tom Kim, and Kevin Kisner, who By the way, is he drunk the whole time? Because he was hitting shots that were like as bad as us. Like seriously, like what? I was like, because I know everyone loves Kiz, but I was like, you drink a little before this, Kiz?
He's not the golfer he once was, right? I mean, he was the guy that you knew was going to make the cut, was going to collect the paycheck, and every once in a while compete, right? I think he's on the trail end of his career, which is sad to say because I love the guy and just his banter is unparalleled across the board. But I just don't think he's as good as he was, and he's not really the skill guy for them. He's the comedic banter guy. Like he's not the guy that's going to drain a 3-footer. He's the guy that's going to clap back at Roy when Roy's like, "Hey, put it in the circle." And Kisner's like, "The whole thing's a circle, Roy." Like, and then somebody goes, "Did they teach you that at Georgia?" He goes, "That's basic geometry or whatever." He goes, "But I didn't pass geometry." Like that's why he's there. He's not there to hit the shots. So I mean, I'm fine with this. Yeah.
So Adam Scott, he drained a 30-plus foot putt to send the match to overtime, right? And in overtime, what they do is it's closest to the pin alternate shot. So it's essentially like a shootout in hockey. So you have one person hits, I think it was about a 37-yard chip.
So they got them set up at 37 yards, and then they alternate back and forth. One person for one team hits, the other team tries to get it in closer. If they don't, it's a wash basically, and they move to the next group, and it's best out of 3.
Yeah, just like a shootout, right? You got the first person goes, the second person matches them, they both miss, whatever. First person makes it, then the Caps claim that first spot in the shootout. So that's kind of what it did in the shootout, if you want to call it that. I believe Kisner actually had the winning shot because he went second after Tom Kim won the first one. He went second, put his on the green, wasn't even a good shot. But then Adam Scott came up and hit a poor chip that rolled kind of down almost off of it and gave Jupiter GC the win and their first ever victory. And so they're not in the basement. I believe that is reserved for Rory's team now.
Yeah, they had their first birdie too, which I think is absolutely wild to hear that it took them, I think, like 15, 16 holes. So I think they said it was like somewhere almost like 25 holes before they had their first birdie, which is insane.
I heard something. It was in their first match, Jupiter drained 8 foot of putts total. The second match, they had like 40 some after like at the halfway mark. So,
it goes back to that whole they're figuring it out, right? It's a turf green. It's actually, I don't know if you saw the like lead up into it, but they showed like the behind the scenes, like what's underneath the green. They've got these like 600
Pistons,
pressure
right?
plates, that like shift and move, and it's like it's got to be so weird to these guys putting on that thing. And hitting shots onto it. So I can imagine there's, like you said, a learning curve to start with it.
It's awesome. I like I said, this was the first one where it felt like they had figured some things out a little bit more. It was a little more entertaining because some of the other matches weren't close. So it's kind of like, okay, I'm just watching guys hit golf balls. I can go to the driving range and watch guys hit golf balls. But this one had the feel of like, okay, like I said, we figured it out. We know now what we're playing for. We know now how to play it. Because you also saw the hammer thrown so much more than the first few matches. Because I think there was still that, that the hammer basically, which if you throw it and you have it, it's not like in curling where you have the last shot. It's more of if I have it and I throw it, that makes the hole worth 2 points, or you can decline it and you lose the hole automatically, but you only lose 1 point. So you saw guys.
It's essentially a press.
Bad shot, and yes, yep, you saw a bad shot, and Kiz is going to throw the hammer to make this hole worth 2 because you had a poor shot, and that was fun. I like that, and I think that the tie break, I believe, at the end of the year to determine who gets the playoffs or not is number of holes won. I think is what they said. So it behooves you to win as many holes as possible. So that's how they made it. If it's a blowout, well, if I'm losing 10-2, okay, I've lost this match. No point differential or hole differential, but I still need to fight for those other 4 holes. So if I lose 10-6, I have 6 holes won that goes towards my tiebreak at the end of the year, which I think is a good idea there. Anything else, Nathan, that caught your eye from that TGL match the other night?
I think the critiques and stuff for it are warranted, but I think for the traditionalists that are trying to watch, a Sunday round at Augusta. Like it's like you said, it's for the guys posting up on the 16th hole at the Waste Management, like to have a good time. And there are some kinks that they need to work out, but I think they've got something here at least to build off of. So hopefully,
what I like the most is I was able to watch golf on a weeknight, sitting at home on my couch watching guys play golf. That's not something that's accessible in a normal PGA or even live golf round. You're right. Thursday, Friday is hard to watch those because you're at work all day. And Saturday, Sunday takes place during the day when oftentimes you're doing things and running errands. But this taking place 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, I can sit there and watch it. And it's only 2 hours. I can watch from 7 to 9, and boom, I just watched Tiger play golf.
Yeah, it's competitive and it's a fun atmosphere. But like Nathan was saying, the golf traditionalist doesn't really understand it. And all I could think about is it feels like our dad going to Top Golf for the first time and going, "How am I supposed to work on my game? I don't get it. I can't work on my game here." They're like, "No, you're supposed to just have fun. You socialize, you drink, you have fun." And like these guys are going to be competitive, but they're also like you get to see them in a more relaxed light, and you get to have some crowd interaction stuff. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean,
you got to separate the two.
There's a lot of room where you kind of see things like I didn't understand like the caddy that they had standing there, like that was just kind of odd to me.
That.
I think
he's moving where you aim on the thing, because if you go to those golf simulators, you have to like kind of turn the thing to aim. Okay. That's what he's doing. So he's saying, all right, if I turn it here, it's a 265-yard shot.
Do you have to hand him your club? Like
that was the weird part. It's like Rory. He's cleaning Rory's like club after he hits out of the sand, and it's like, where's I want to see Joel Damon and Gino going back and forth here. Like I want to see that. I want to see Max Homa and his caddy with the beard, like just posted up in the chair and like going, no, you clean your own club this time. Like I want to see that. But yeah, I mean, I think for the most part, it's great. It's just there's some things that need to be ironed out. And if I had to guess, like, I would say next year they're going to reevaluate and really figure it out. But I'm in the camp of if it's this or live, I'm taking this 10 times out of 10 times. Like I'm not going to watch 18 holes at a 4.5-5 hour pace anymore if this is my new option, because it's great.
Yeah. Yep. I agree.
I do love live, but this what I like about this, again, it's on a weeknight. I can sit and watch it. I'm not, especially now, like, I don't want to watch X Wizards game because they're terrible, and that's the only other thing that's on. So this is much more enjoyable.
So that's the other thing. Do they expand and include like a district team? How great would that be to have like a DC team?
That'd be sweet. And you know what I would like too is if they let the live guys in on it. Because why can't John Rahm be on a team? Like it adds that other layer of drama, as you will. Like why can't John Rahm be the captain?
Now you're thinking of entertainment.
Yes.
Well, that they need thinking like Tiger and Rory. Like every single one of their guys were wearing a different shade of green, like in red. Like that annoyed the OCD in me so bad. It's like you're telling me they can't figure out how to like skirt brands and stuff, and everybody wear the exact same polo with the exact same color, and then just put like Tiger Sunday Red or something.
Liv did it,
right? It's just like it looks sloppy, in my opinion.
But again, that when Liv started off with that, that's how it looked. Was their teams they couldn't get around that, and now they figured out that like yes, Brooks has to have Nike, and Nike won't allow anything else on his shirt, but Brooks's Nike blue shirt is going to be the same blue color as Taylor Gooch's, Smash GC shirt, right? So, yeah, you're right. That's something that they need to figure out, because that'd be really cool to be able to go grab a polo from the team that's the same polo that Tom Kim is wearing out there.
But the logos are phenomenal. I think the logos are the best part. Like Boston Commons with the frog.
Yeah, the frog. Yeah,
is unreal. So
if they're doing it right. Enough, that would, and if I didn't dislike Rory enough, and if I would ever root for a Boston team, that would be something to consider. But yeah, I think a yay for that for now. Before we move on to the next thing, just a nice shameless plug. be on the lookout for one of our spin-off shows, WCME Golf, or What Caught My Eye Golf, will be hosted by our very own resident golf expert, Nathan Bursak. So be on the lookout for that if you want more and like more discussions like we just had about the game of golf and new trends and things like that you see that we may not always get to on our show. Well, that spin-off show is going to have that for you. It's, to be determined, but hopefully in the next few weeks we'll be able to put one out there for you. And again, plug, Nathan will be your host and you'll be joining him for that. So be on the lookout for that. WCME Golf coming your way soon.
You're going to try against that, was it the, it was like the influencers tournament or whatever they had.
I saw that.
Hell no.
Yes.
Hell no.
This is the slow game here.
This is how you get it.
Slow game,
Yes.
No, there is no game being played here. This is me just trying to not embarrass myself for the internet.
Aren't we all? Right. So I'm going to move on to some college basketball. Some good stuff from the men's and women's sides this past weekend. I'm going to start with the men's side. So I'm going to go with I thought was the game of the week was number 7 Houston and number 12 Kansas. So Houston scored 6 points in essentially the final 8 seconds of OT to tie the game against Kansas and forced double OT at Fog Allen Fieldhouse. So it was very Reggie Miller-like. I don't know if you saw it, Boyd. But
yeah, I saw it.
They're down by 6. They're moving around. They throw up kind of a desperation three because they got to have it. Goes in. And Bill Self and Kansas call a timeout to set up a play and botch the play. They throw it away right to guy on Houston who drains the three to tie it. And everyone's like, well, what the hell just happened? And that kind of just turned the tide. In the second OT, Houston outscored Kansas 13-7 to give the Cougars a 92-86 victory. It's the Cougars' 17th consecutive conference win, which is the second longest streak in Big 12 history, which is pretty amazing. They haven't lost a conference game since February of last year, I believe.
Really?
I don't even before that, but yeah, the 17
in that conference
games,
too.
yes.
That conference is so good. They play West Virginia next too.
Criminally underrated is Houston and Kelvin Sampson for whatever reason.
Yeah, I don't know why people.
Every year,
it's because for some reason the metrics people don't like them.
But I've seen so many other metrics that do. Like their BPI, the Basketball Power Index, always has them.
Well, that's for
five.
Those are for like the official like Ken Pom or BPI or whatever those metrics like them. But the people that do like on social media that I follow that do like their own metrics because they don't like what Ken Pom or BPI or whatever the AP poll like they don't like what those do. They hate Houston for some reason.
My hypothesis is that it's because they never have a superstar. That they have such a hard time differentiating the singular versus the whole. And that's what Houston is a team. Like a whole, complete team that you don't see.
They're always just a never say die, grind it out. They will never quit on a game.
Yes. Everyone can shoot. Everyone can rebound. Everyone can guard.
Everyone
deep
hustles
they're
nonstop.
Big,
and they are tough.
Yes.
Yeah, they do. They do all the things you want. Yeah.
Yep. And yeah, I don't understand why they're number 7. They moved up, but they should be higher, please. Moving on, another big game of the week was the number 1 Auburn Tigers versus the number 6 Tennessee Vols. With about 30 seconds left, Auburn's Miles Kelly hit the go-ahead 3 as Auburn was able to hold off Tennessee 53-51. Janai Broom returned from an injury to have 16 points and 13 rebounds off the bench, though, for Auburn, who won a program record 7th game this year versus a ranked opponent. Broom is funny. I saw before the game, it was like, oh, Bruce Pearl said Broom will be on like a snap count and a minutes count. And that's why he's coming off the bench. And then he plays 33 minutes of the game.
Yeah, so once he goes in, he just doesn't come out.
Yes. Moving on to some more SEC stuff. Down by 18. This game I thought was over. I turned it off. Down by 18 at half and by as many as 22 in the second half. Texas stormed back to beat number 13 Texas A&M 70-69 thanks to Tremont Marks' bucket with 3 seconds left. It was the first time the Longhorns had led in the entire game when he made that shot with 3 seconds
It's amazing.
left.
Yeah.
Amazing.
They needed to. They're on the outside looking in, I believe.
Yeah, that's a big win for them. Moving on, some Vandy stuff. I have some more Vandy stuff too, and get to the women's basketball. But for the second straight weekend, the Vanderbilt Commodores knocked off a top 10 team at home as they defeated the number 9 Kentucky Wildcats 74-69. It's the first time Vandy's beaten Kentucky at home since 2016. That's a good team they got down there.
They're very good, and I don't know how much that. I love to talk to someone who knows more than me, but I don't know how much that helps Drake if Drake has any chance of being an at-large. Most likely they'll have to still win their conference, but Drake has 2 losses on the year, and they have a win over Vandy.
Yeah.
To win that tournament at the start of the year.
Well, like you said, Drake's a good team. Vandy's a good team. There's a lot of very good teams. It's about differentiating yourself with your resume. And you're right. Hopefully, the more Vandy can keep doing things like this, it makes that win stand out.
Like the Missouri Valley, I think, could get 2 teams.
Mm-hmm. Who would be the other one?
It just whoever wins the conference.
Actually, Bradley's a decent team. I believe they have.
If Drake if Drake gets to the championship game and loses, I think Drake can still get in. But I mean, obviously, it depends on what happens the rest of the year. But right now, because that Vandy winning, I feel like just makes them look so much better.
Yes, hate the Drake. Got to love the Drake.
Love the Drake.
Moving on, Minnesota, they upset number 15 Oregon in Minneapolis, 77-69. The Gophers were led by Dawson Garcia, who had 31 points on a very efficient 13 of 19 from the field, and he added 6 boards to go along with that. The last 3 games for the Gophers, they've beaten number 20, or at the time number 20 Michigan. They beat Iowa in Iowa City for the first time in 10 years, and then they just beat number 15 Oregon at home. That's a pretty good three-game stretch for a team that's like 11-9. So maybe that's a team who's just caught fire, and we could see them make a run. Sticking with the Big Ten, Braden Smith from Purdue, he went off for 24 points, 10 assists, and 7 rebounds as the number 11 Boilermakers pounded number 21 Michigan 91-64 Friday in West Lafayette. Purdue, I think they're in the top 10 again. They just keep going. I still am not sold on them for whatever reason. I
don't feel like they have the team like they did last year, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sold on them either. But you look at them and then you just go, well, they're still a top 10 team.
Yes,
right?
Because they keep winning, they keep producing results.
They're still good. I think it's just we've grown to expect them to be so good. Like It's almost like Gonzaga, right? Gonzaga all of a sudden this year has struggled a little bit. We go, whoa, maybe Gonzaga's not that good this year. We keep thinking they're good, but maybe just this year they're not that good. So I feel like Purdue's kind of in that same boat where like we're looking at them like, oh, they lost a couple games. Like, how good is Purdue? And then they go win these games. And you're like, oh yeah, you know what? Purdue's still really, really good. They just can't win a championship.
Yeah. Yeah, moving on, Cooper Flagg had 24 points to lead the way for number 2 Duke as they got a very good quality road win against Wake Forest, which is not something you can say a lot of in the ACC because it's just garbage. Duke has now won 13 straight games with their win last night against NC State. It's 14 straight games, which is the longest active streak in the country, believe it or not. 14, that's kind of amazing. Moving on, another streaks here. Out in the West Coast, Gonzaga's conference, but St. Mary's. Yeah, St. Mary's, who's legit. Led by Paulius Morauskas. He had 25 points, 12 rebounds.
From Australia?
He's Lithuanian.
Morauskas. They always have Australians.
Yes, they do. They actually have a lot of... I think there's a couple other Lithuanians out there. Maršalonis, the point guard, whose dad, I think, played in the NBA or was a big-time player. He's real good. But Morauskas had 25 and 12 as St. Mary's defeated Washington State 80-75 in Pullman. And Washington State's a good team. It's the Gales' 14th straight road win, which is the longest such active streak in the country. St. Mary's, watch out. I was watching that game. I was like, man, these guys are legit. The athleticism, the shot making, the creativity was off the charts. And what I like about them is Maršalonis, true point guard. To the truest extent that you can be, where he is running the show, but he's not out there trying to rack up like stats or points or anything. he's in complete and total control of the game. So their offense is so efficient because it's never out of control because he's out the floor general running it. So yeah, that was watching. I was like, oh, I don't want to play that. Don't let me draw St. Mary's in the tournament. This next one, just for the Richmond people, in a very pivotal A10 clash, VCU outscored St. Bonaventure, if this in the second half, 50-28 in the second half to defeat the Bonnies 75-61 at the Siegel Center Friday night. The Rams now lead the A10 at 6-1 in conference and 16-4 overall. Coming in after their play on Saturday, I don't think they had a game yet, but yeah, VCU is real good. Let's see here. Here a couple Big Ten one right for you, boy. Maryland's Rodney Rice scored a game-high 23 points, including the game-winning three-pointer with 7 seconds left as the Terrapins downed the Hoosiers at Assembly Hall Sunday afternoon. Maryland and Indiana, that was a big game because those are both teams that will be vying on the bubble. And so getting a win like that, especially on the road for a Maryland team, is big. And then the last one here, last night, this is a crazy game. Arizona's Caleb Love banked in a buzzer beater from beyond half court.
I believe it was a overtime. 60-foot shot.
Yeah, it was deep, right, against number 3 Iowa State. And in the extra session, the Wildcats just rolled to hand the Cyclones an 86-75 defeat in Tucson. Caleb Love ultimately finished the game with 22 points, including 2 more trays in the overtime session. I think he was 1 for 10 from 3 going into that buzzer beater he drilled from beyond half court, and then went on to hit 2 more in succession.
By the way, Arizona's 8-1 in the Big 12.
Yes, they are. I saw that. And then West Virginia has a neutral site win against them.
Yes, we do. We have great wins, and then we just decided we got ranked, and then Arizona State at home, and then the Kansas State loss is really bad.
Yeah, it's not
the scouting report. The scouting report's out on West Virginia, and they gotta fix their offense right now and get their defense going again. But scouting report's out without DeVries as a second scorer. It's just you make life a living hell for Javon Small, and they can't do anything. Yeah. And it's I trust the coach. I trust Coach DeVries to figure it out. But without his son, I think the lack of depth and lack of scoring is really catching up to them. And the league is too deep and the coaching's too good to get through it. And after you lose those games that you needed to win, you get your reward is Houston.
Yes.
Tomorrow. So, yeah, good luck.
At home or away?
That should be at home, I believe.
So that's your saving graces. They do play better at home. Or rise to the occasion at home when they're playing these superior opponents.
I think there was also that emotional high of, the Jerry West game beating Iowa State and, how big that was. And then you just, I think Javon Small was gassed for this week, and the rest of the team was too. If Javon Small can't score, that team's got a problem.
Yeah. But still doing better than UVA.
Yeah, I still trust the coach. I've
it's not
zero reason to not trust the coach, and it's 2 games that he'll figure out and learn from, and they'll get better. It does stink that his son's been out. His son is an NBA prospect, has been out for so long, and I don't know if he's coming back.
Yeah. So that's going to move us on to our Mimosa Minute this week, which is brought to you, as always, by Maine & Co., the creators of the Modern Mimosa. Visit them at mainsip.com and follow them on Instagram at maine.co. That's MAYNE to get updates and see their new products. They should have some new stuff coming out soon, or just if you want to order something. They do make a great gift for your bridal showers and bachelorette parties. I'm sure, boy, you are set to throw one of those soon. But be on the lookout for them. Maine & Co. championing women's athletics since 2020. A couple women's college basketball things here for us. I'm going to start with number 12 Ohio State. They overcame a 15-point deficit to defeat number 8 Maryland 74-66 Thursday in Columbus. Jelani Cambridge led all scorers with 20 points for the Buckeyes. Couple South Carolina things here for you, because South Carolina, they're number 2, but because they lost the one game to UCLA, and UCLA is still undefeated, so it's kind of like their number 2 de facto. but it's hard to envision them losing another game, especially when they get to the tournament time. But this week, number 2, South Carolina, their defense did not allow a three-pointer after the 6:09 mark in the second quarter against LSU, and they registered a season-high 11 blocks. They held the number 5 and previously undefeated Tigers to a season-low 56 points in a 66-56 victory. South Carolina has now won 69 straight home games, which is tied for the longest streak in SEC history, which is just bonkers. Another South Carolina thing, after they played LSU, they went and played number 17 Tennessee on the road in Knoxville, and they prevailed 70-63, meaning USC's last 5 games have all been against ranked opponents, and they've won all of those games. So they are hitting their stride right when they need it. And the last one here, just so we could have another Alabama reference, you can play the clip. Michaela Blakes, she had 33 points to lead the Vanderbilt women, to a win over a ranked opponent for the second straight weekend, as they won 66-64 over the number 19 Alabama Crimson Tide in Tuscaloosa.
Y'all don't even know he was a virgin until he's 28, and now, roll tide.
Woo! Woo! Yeah. Michaela Blake's freshman phenom. She's a name that keep watch, because I believe the last weekend when they beat Tennessee, she also was a leading scorer and dropped a bunch of points. So she's doing something right down there. But that's going to do it for our Mimosa Minute this week. Again, as always, brought to you by Maine & Co., the creators of the Modern Mimosa. Make sure you visit them at mainsip.com. That's MAYNESIP.com. And follow them on Instagram at maine.co to stay up to date on all of their products. Now, that's going to take us to our final segment of the evening, which is our favorite segment. Favorites, as we should know, is brought to you, as always, by One Legacy Title and Escrow in Jacksonville, Florida. Visit them at onelegacyflorida.com and follow them on Instagram at onelegacyflorida to see ways and learn about how they can help you with your next house closing. One Legacy Title and Escrow, because your legacy matters. And this week, for our favorites, we went with our favorite offensive lineman, as we bemoaned from opening the cards and didn't get a single offensive lineman card in the pack, which is just absurd. But this is how we'll make up for it. So who would like to start?
Do you want me to go, Nathan?
Nathan, did you get 5 of them?
I think so. I mean,
all right,
really scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right. So I started out with some big names. So I liked Joe Thomas. Really put Cleveland on the map for me. I mean, consummate professional. Always came in, did what he was supposed to. Next up, I had 2 classics with Orlando Pace and Bryant McKinnie. And a big Bryant McKinnie fan, because I'm a Canes fan through and through, even though I have no connection to them whatsoever. So anytime I can reference a Cane, I'm happy there. Then I went Jason Kelsey, because he was the next name that popped into my head. And now that I live in Delaware, I guess I should become an Eagles fan, even though, God, their fans are obnoxious.
Stanza.
And then last one is Scott Jones. He didn't make it to the league, but he is a member of Creighton Farms, went to JMU, graduated from Langley. Heck of a golfer, heck of a guy. Completed his Ironman that he was training for earlier this year, and just a great guy. I mean, really great guy. Every conversation I've had, nothing but pleasant and friendly. So that's my top 5.
I love it. See, you were concerned so much about not getting 5 linemen down, and you easily did. You got so many linemen, you had to pick someone who didn't even make it to the pros.
Meanwhile, you guys are talking. I'm like typing in top linemen in NFL history, and I'm like, I don't know half of these people, and I'm like, I just need a 5th name, guys. Come on, Google. It's like I could make something up about Tony Fisher. I don't know who Tony Fisher is, but we'll make it work.
Boy.
All right. So I did not have an honorable mention this week. I went strictly 5. First one, the jersey that Nick's wearing right now, Joe Thomas, like Nathan said. Joe Thomas, the original Badger offensive lineman. I believe there's some record number of snaps he played in a row in the NFL, which is just absurd. Number 4, Russ Grimm.
Yes, from the Hogs.
The Hogs. Yeah, he is. And I picked him because he is my favorite quote ever from a football player. He said in his Hall of Fame speech, "There's no better feeling in the world than moving a man from point A to point B against his will." I want all maulers on my team, on my offensive line. Russ Grimm is a mauler. Gotta have him. Number 3, maybe the best Patriot lineman of all time, Logan Mankins. Phenomenal.
Good one.
Bill Belichick loves Logan Mankins. Number 2, another Badger. Unfortunately, his career got cut short. Played for the Dallas Cowboys. Center Travis Frederick.
Yes.
He was really, really good. He was one of my favorite centers, and then he unfortunately had to cut his career short. And number 1 of my favorite Mountaineers of all time, is a rookie in the league for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Zach Frazier. Absolute anchor. I could watch his highlights all day. I love Zach Frazier. He's a mauler and an anchor, and he's going to be a perennial Pro Bowler.
I agree. So this is a topic that is near and dear to my heart that I could wax poetic about for hours on end because I was an offensive lineman. I was a center. I was a damn good center, too, by the way.
Long snapper, too, right?
And I was a long snapper. That counts. So my segue to get into my list, boy, is going to piggyback off of Zach Frazier. And so I don't know if you know this, but the Steelers have a very long history of excellent centers, dating essentially from 1964 through Zach Frazier now. They've only had like 6 guys be center. So I believe it was Ray Mansfield started it, and then he mentored perhaps the greatest center ever, which is Mike Webster from...
Is he UVA?
No, he went to Wisconsin.
Oh. I was about to say, there's no way it's a UVA guy.
No. Well, UVA even back then sucked at football. But Mike Webster from Wisconsin, arguably the best center ever. I want to say he was 9 Pro Bowls, but first team All-Pro maybe 7 times, I want to say. He was fantastic. He played for them for about 15 years. I believe he had the most seasons ever playing for the Steelers until Roethlisberger broke that a couple years ago. Then went from Mike Webster to another Hall of Famer, Dermontti Dawson, who is those two are oftentimes up there in the top, always in the top 5 best centers ever. Dermontti Dawson and Mike Webster. Then after Dawson, it went to Jeff Hardings, who made an first team All Pro, won a Super Bowl with them for a few years. His tenure didn't last as long as those previous guys, and it went from Hardings 3 years off, then Marquise Pouncey, who's a phenomenal center, went him, and then 2 or 3 years off, and then Zach Frazier. So literally, there's like from 64 to now, there's like a 5-year stretch, 5-6 year stretch where they kind of shuffle guys. Other than that, the Steelers have been stout at that center position, and it should be no surprise that they win all the time because that continuity with the center, calling out the line and being able to solidify the interior of that line is so crucial to the success overall of a football team that a lot of people don't understand it because there's no stats that go with it. But when you see a team lose their starting center, it's a big deal. That's why we saw Cam Jurgens come back in the game when they were probably planning to not have him play in that game, the Pro Bowl center for the for the Eagles. You saw him come back in the game, especially with Dickerson hurt, because they needed that continuity to get them through. And it should be no surprise that they turned it up a notch offensively in the second half when Jurgens comes back in. So just a little thing there for the Steelers fans in our lives. I have 2 honorable mentions because I could have had 15 of them for this. But Tony Baselli from the Jaguars was probably the first lineman that I really looked at as like an idol, wanted to do what he did. And then Jeff Saturday, who the center for the Colts, made a Pro Bowl at the end of his career with the Packers, should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't think he is for whatever reason. It's just baffling to me. But Jeff Saturday, you could argue, did more with less than any offensive lineman. He wasn't
He was
big.
like 270 pounds, right?
Wasn't
He was
big,
not big.
wasn't strong, but was as cerebral of a player as you could be, which is what you need out of that center position.
Especially when Peyton's your QB.
And he, when you hear him talk, you understand why he was so good, because he's that smart. If Peyton weren't there, he was the smartest guy on the football
love
field.
the clip too of Peyton and Jeff Saturday yelling at each other, and then like another guy has to step in to like calm Peyton down.
Just
like
Saturday's
like,
just activate the ball.
He's like Peyton. He's like, we gotta run it. We gotta do this. He goes, you just snap the fucking ball, all right? You just snap the fucking ball. I'll call the plays. And the guy comes in. He's like, whoa, Peyton. He's like, no, we're cool.
Peyton. And Peyton Manning or Peyton Manning?
Debating Manning.
Number 5, I have Alejandro Villanueva.
Oh, yes.
West Point
Army.
grad. He was an Army Ranger before he played in the NFL. It's just pretty remarkable. I always thought he was very underrated because I thought he did a really – well, he was a receiver in college because they literally that was back when Army was just straight garbage. And so they thought this gimmick would be able to throw him at receiver and just throw jump balls to him all the time. But he really was a lineman at heart, obviously. I feel like his story overshadowed how good of a player he was. And so he didn't get the credit because people looked at his story and said, oh, well, he's just out here because of that. But he was a very good left tackle for a number of years in the league. Number 4, I have Jason Kelsey, who, in my opinion, is the best center ever. Yes, you have to put him up, debate between him and Webster, and Jim Otto is another. If you ever look up a picture of Jim Otto wore 00 for the Raiders and had like this old school neck roll and looked like this guy's going to rip your face off. But those are probably the 3 best centers, Otto, Webster, and Kelsey. Again, and it's not hyperbolic. It's not necessarily recency bias either, because Kelsey's done things on a football field I've never seen a center do. He's done things I've never seen an offensive lineman do, and let alone doing from the center position where you have to first snap the ball. Yes, look at this man. Look at that. That is awesome. As you can see him, that's Jim Otto.
The bull ring.
Yes. Basically no face mask. We're in 00. It's awesome. But yes, Kelsey made blocks that I couldn't wrap my head around. Like, how did he even get to that person? Not only just get to that player, but punish them. That tush push that everyone wants to shit on. There's a reason the Eagles are the only ones that can do it. It was because of him, right? And now the rest of them have figured it out. But that's the most crucial part, is being quick off that. And I also love his story too. Almost, I used the word dichotomy earlier. It really is a dichotomy between him and his brother Travis, right? Jason was a walk-on running back at Cincinnati. Found a way on the field by making himself a center. Was a mid-round pick by the Eagles. This is a dude who is a true football afterthought. Like, shouldn't even be there. But found a way to be successful. And like I said, arguably the greatest center ever for his, rare that you find any lineman, let alone centers, combine the athleticism and the skill and the power that he was able to display. He could pass block, run block, block in space, do everything. Right? And it doesn't happen. Spoiler alert. Number 3 is Bruce Matthews, who is, I would say, the greatest offensive lineman of all time. He's the only player to make a Pro Bowl at guard, tackle, and center. He literally made a Pro Bowl at every position on the offensive line. It's stupid. That doesn't. Again, it's not like, I made Pro Bowl at X receiver and then I made Pro Bowl when I was the Z receiver. No. Being able to do all 3 of those different positions is the ultimate sign of a true lineman. Because too often you have guys who focus on one. Well, basically, we do like in the NBA, we focus on one skill. Right, so we get this guy who could just play left tackle. But the fact that Bruce Matthews could play everything and play it at the highest level is crazy. I think he has the second most Pro Bowls ever, Bruce Matthews does, behind Tom. Of any position. Number 2, your boy, you brought him up earlier, Travis Frederick. Again, one of my idols. He literally did all the things I would have done. Right, I'm a Wisconsin fan. He played for the University of Wisconsin as a center, my position. Wore number 72, my number. Then played for the Cowboys, my NFL team, at number 72. So he was going to be a Hall of Famer until he developed a Guillain-Barré syndrome. I believe it's like a neurodegenerative type of disorder that prevented him from playing in the league. But Travis Frederick was on his way to being top 10, top 5 center ever. He was that good because he could do all facets of the game as well. And number 1, the aforementioned Joe Thomas, the jersey I'm wearing, beautiful Browns jersey I'm wearing. Like you said, boy, the consecutive snap streak tells you all, right? Because you have to be so good that you can't get benched. You have to be so tough that anything that could sideline someone, you're not sidelined for. And you have to be that hardworking to want to do it. And he said, I heard him talk about it recently, about he wasn't necessarily sitting there saying, I want to do this streak. He just was like, my job is essentially to play football and be out there. So, it's time to go on offense, I go out for offense. And never said, I gotta get on the field, shoot me up with something so I can be healthy to play. No, that's how hard he worked. And it's amazing too, he did it on such bad teams.
Yeah.
And any one of us might sit there and say, God, I'll just take a playoff. We suck. We suck. But yet he was out there.
Didn't Alex Mack, wasn't, because he was on that team and then got traded. And I believe he was like, God, I hope Joe gets traded. Yeah. Like someone trade for him. Like I just want to see him be successful, like on a successful team. But Joe Thomas, too loyal.
And too good. Was fantastic. I think 10 years, 10 Pro Bowls, something like that. He's arguably the best left tackle ever. Now I don't know if people you got your Anthony Munoz up there. There's obviously Jonathan Ogden's, the Orlando Paces of the world. You got a lot of Willie Roaf.
Oh, Willie Roaf's a good one.
Name, but Joe Thomas is up there, and I'm missing some older guys too that are up there as well. But he has a legitimate claim to being the best who's ever done his position, which is really amazing, especially for a guy who had to endure such terrible teams in Cleveland. That's my list. I don't care what you say. Anything before we wrap this debacle up?
No, I knew 2 names from the other 7 people that were named, not on my list. 2 names, and they were both already on my list.
Yes.
Gotta pay attention to the boys in the trenches.
Yes. That's where your focus should be, looking at them first. You go inside out. You see what the play is first, because depending on how they fire off or don't fire off, who's pulling, who's moving this way. So you see what the play is first, and you move outward to see what the skill guys are doing. That's how you should be watching football.
Only position that doesn't depend on anyone else.
So You talk to me like I have time to watch football with 2 young kids. Like, dude, right now my life is Coco Melon, Miss Rachel, whatever she finds on YouTube. Like, I don't get a chance to watch football. And if I do, it's 5 minutes at a time.
There is no silence anymore. There's only Doc McStuffins.
That's why you need a second TV. Our boy will sit back here. Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, that's the new one that's been on the TV, the second TV. So the first TV will have the football. He did come in on Monday morning, was like, watch football. And I was like, dude, there's no football on right now. You missed your boat. That's what I wanted you to do yesterday, but you wanted to run around and scream and throw shit all over the place and watch Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. You missed a perfectly good game.
Well, that's what Austin last night, we were watching TGL, and she's like, football? I was like, no, golf tonight. She's like, football. I was like, golf. Football? I was like, stop saying football. We're watching golf tonight. And then she goes, fine. Then she goes, fine, Miss Rachel. And I'm like, absolutely not.
Yes.
Absolutely not. So
toddler compromise.
Absolutely not. But we're getting there.
We haven't gotten there. We haven't gotten there yet. Stella pays attention to football, so I'm assuming she's gonna like it. But I mean, she's gonna have to like the Stillers for her mom. So
yeah. That's a given. That's a given. All right, again, thanks to our sponsors. Quick plug, make sure to check out Nathan on our upcoming spin-off series, WCME Golf. For the boy, Stephen Vesci, our resident golf expert, Nathan Bursack. I am your host, the coach, Nick Vesci. Reminder, before we sign off here, to follow us on all of our socials on X, Instagram, and Facebook at WCME_sports. You can visit us on our website at WCMEsports.com. And all of our episodes drop every Wednesday at noon on Spotify, on YouTube, and on iHeartRadio. As always, be decent to each other. Have a good one. We'll see you next time. Take care, Guatemala.
Y'all don't even know he was a virgin until he was 28, and now, roll tide.
Roll Tide.